fact that Michael Giacchino, the director, wanted to do this project. This is a passion project for him. This is something that he pitched Kevin Feige to create. And that's was something that was so cool when we spoke to him. And he told us that it's like, this is something he wanted to do. This wasn't something that was offered to him. Hello and welcome to the movie podcast review of Werewolf by Night. My name is Daniel. I am one of your hosts today, and joining alongside me are my fellow monsters, Anthony.
Hello.
And Shahbaz.
Hello. Hold on. Before we kind of get to anything, Anthony, before we started, you said that you had a really good response for what Daniel was going to introduce us with. And your response was, hello?
I was
he's a friendly monster.
I was a friendly monster. I was expecting him to ask us what kind of monsters we would be.
Right.
And then we would go from there. So I will
So
think,
you're blaming Daniel.
We could just say like what monsters would I would like to be, and I think I would like to be the Invisible Man. Isn't he? He's a monster, right? He's part of that monster universe.
He's a monster. He's a monster for sure. Yeah.
But for you guys, I was gonna say you guys are like Sesame Street monsters, but like but more Muppets than monsters.
Are you saying like Bert and Ernie? I'm a little confused.
No, you could be like whatever, like Grover and Elmo.
And Elmo? Sure. Yeah.
You guys are
That's
more
good.
Muppets than monsters to me.
Not sure if you're like using a British slang now or if you're just calling us Muppets.
No, I'm not, but I know the British like to say Muppets, but you know.
Yes.
You
If you're
guys
British,
are,
please write in.
you guys are more Muppet because you're just friendlier. I'm more of like a voyeur, I guess.
But I love that you're like
I'm not Kevin Bacon Hollow Man. No, I'm not that.
Good. No.
That's After Dark.
That's good. I like it though. I mean, I think that's very accurate of how we are on the show. But I will say, kudos to you though, Anthony. You were a very friendly monster when I did introduce you. You did come off very friendly, and I think if you were to be a monster and you were to introduce yourself, I think people would love you still.
Yeah, like I would be okay being a friendly monster, like the Thing and all the other type of monsters.
Anthony the Friendly Monster. Like that sounds like a Disney Plus series in itself right there.
You know, Where the Wild Things Are, that monster is I would consider him a monster or beast, but he was friendly, you know.
Yeah. Shay, how are you doing though today? Jump in here, please.
You know, I'm doing great. Had a busy day. I'm trying to get a lot of errands done, and I'm getting ready for when is this coming out? Is this coming out on my birthday? Because if it is, then happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to our favorite Muppet, Shahbaz.
No, I'm not really I'm not a big like birthday person. Not that I'm against it either. Like it's just like
this guy has like 7, like every single birthday he says that, and he has like special surprise birthday. I'm on a helicopter birthday. I'm jumping off the Burj Khalifa birthday.
That was because I had to save the city of Dubai, okay?
Right. That's exactly what happened. No, but in all seriousness, this episode is releasing on Shay's birthday, so happy birthday to Shay. For those of you listening to this episode of the Movie Podcast, please go send Shay some love on his social media handles, obviously.
Or death threats.
You could do both. All of that will be in our show notes below. Another thing you will see in our show notes below, for the very first time and not the last, today's episode of the Movie Podcast is brought to you by our friends at Mubi. Stay tuned to later into the episode to find out how you could have a 30-day free trial to see some incredible films on their platform. We're going to tell you all about it very soon. So thank you to Mubi. Happy birthday to Shay. But today is all about Werewolf by Night. We are so excited to finally be able to talk about this. We had the pleasure of welcoming back Michael Giacchino, composer, director, and now friend of the show, to talk all about this Marvel Studios special presentation. It's going to be releasing on October 7th. So for you playing at home, that is the day after Shay's birthday, just so you could keep track. October 7th, you'll be able to watch this on Disney Plus. And I want to say thank you to our friends at Disney Studios Canada for providing us with the film for review and also for connecting us with Michael, Laura Donnelly, who is an actress in this film, and with Brian Gay, who's a co-executive producer of this project. I'm so excited to see more Marvel Studios special presentations, but we're going to talk all about that very soon. I do want to remind you that there are a lot of amazing episodes of the Movie Podcast out right now that you could listen to across YouTube. On check out our show notes for our social media: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd. You could write into the show at hello@TheMoviePodcast.ca and join our Discord. We're having some great conversations in there on all the biggest shows, all the biggest movies. Episodes of the movie podcast may end, but the conversation doesn't have to stop. So make sure you go over to our Discord. We're having a great time in there. Shay's doing a great job providing, kind of managing everything going on in the Discord channel. Shay, what's been your favorite thing so far about hanging out in the Discord world with all of our our community of movie lovers?
I think it's probably the fact that people want to talk in there. Like, there's been some great conversations, a lot of great insights, and what's really interesting is I think there's very, very few Canadians in this chat. It seems to be a lot of people from Europe and the United States. So sometimes the messages are coming in the middle of our night, and probably like daytime for somebody else, but it's just so interesting to see the different perspectives on, like, where do you go to the movie theater, how's the movie theater experience for you,
right.
So it's very eye-opening is what I'll say.
Yeah, it's very diverse in there. So there, we'll have our Canadians in there, but having a huge group of people from around the world talking about movies, it's very cool. For those of you watching on youtube.com/themoviepodcast, Anthony's been doing a great job there moderating everything going on YouTube. You could see I have I had my light behind me that's supposed to be like my full moon. Anthony's hair is blonde, which also looks like the full moon. So it's always like he has the moon with him, which is great.
And I'm hairy.
And you're Harry,
the wolf.
So you're a wolf. But before we get into our synopsis of Werewolf by Night, we have lots of great episodes out. If you want to hear our thoughts on Hocus Pocus 2, if you want to hear us talking to the cast of Hocus Pocus 2, you could do that right now. We also had Andrew Scott and Joel Alwyn from Catherine Called Birdie. We had Josh Duhamel and Lauren Graham from the Mighty Ducks Game Changers. We had Michelle Rodriguez and Stephen Lang from Avatar. We had a huge group of, just awesome people joining us on the movie podcast to talk about their love of the films and their shows and what they're part of. So go check it out. And on top of all of our TIFF coverage, there's so much going on here. And we're going to be going back very soon to our main episodes on Monday. So look forward to that. Shay, or sorry, I want to say Anthony, you had something to interject before we get
I just want to say I'm so happy that your beard is growing back. And just I can trust you again.
Oh, thank God. I know.
There is a point where I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this anymore with this guy. Yeah. I just can't. But I'm so right happy your beard is coming back.
Thank you. No, you know what? In honor of Werewolf by Night, I'm like, I need to turn back into the Wolfman. It's true.
There was a period, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but I was not making eye contact with Daniel at all. Like, in fact, he would talk and I would look around.
Right.
Sometimes I wouldn't even call him his name. I'd be like, hey, person, dude, man. Maybe that man was too much, I think. But
boy.
little boy. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, the beard is coming back. So thank you very much. Those of you watching on YouTube and seeing us on socials, you'll see that my beard is coming back. Shay, please, I'd love for you to start us off with the synopsis for Werewolf by Night.
On a dark and somber night, a secret cabal of monster hunters emerge from the shadows and gather at the foreboding Bloodstone Temple following the death of their leader. Inspired by horror films of the 1930s and 1940s, the chilling special aims to evoke a sense of dread and the macabre with plenty of suspense and scares along the way as we explore a new corner of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I love it. Thank you so much for that, Shay. Of course, like we said, Werewolf by Night is going to be available on Disney Plus starting October 7th, and it stars Gael Garcia Bernal, Laura Donnelly, Harriet Sansom Harris, and of course, it's directed and composed by friend of the show, Michael Giacchino. Anthony, start us off with your first reaction.
So going into this, I didn't watch the trailers, but I knew this was going to be very similar to some sort of monster movie from the past, and knowing Michael Giacchino, I knew we were going to get a really good film. And I really, 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 really enjoyed what I got, especially during this time of the year, and especially a genre that is really not focused a lot of in the Marvel universe, especially like the horror genre, Blade, Werewolf, Dracula, all these characters, which are big parts of the universe as a whole. So I was super interested to see where was Michael gonna go with these characters. I didn't even know Gael was gonna be in this movie. I just knew that Michael Giacchino was directing Werewolf by Night. But what we got and what we saw was fantastic. I can't stress it enough that this is shot very, very beautifully. You have this vibe of the 40s, the 30s and 40s horror Hollywood of what that world expected from the horror genre. Um, Everything from Gael's performance to Laura Donnelly becoming like this badass monster hunter was fantastic. And it's a short story. You really there's not a lot kind of given to us. We just know that there is monsters in this universe, and to get this bloodstone that is part of Laura's character's history, she has to like hunt some sorry, my Siri just went off. Hunt some monsters. So I won't go too deep into it, but I think visually it stands out from what we expect from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It just has this vibe of old school Hollywood horror. It does kind of go down the very narrative based storylines that we get from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I hope one day we can kind of stray from, because we took a unique turn with this movie. I wish that there was a little bit less narrative and a lot more just visual aspects to tell this story. And I know that sounds weird, but I know Marvel is taking a risk just doing this type of storyline because it's so different. But the actual, or sorry, visually different, but the story is very similar to what we experience in a Marvel cinematic uh, movie or series. But overall, fantastic. I enjoyed it. Great watch for the Halloween. Great watch during this time of the year. And Michael Giacchino knocked it out of the park. Hopefully, he can come back and direct more of this type of thing, and see what happens in the future.
What's really interesting with it as well is that, this is Michael's, probably highest profile project yet. We spoke to him earlier this year about Lightyear. This wasn't even an announced project yet, which is crazy to think that, he was teasing it and then now it's actually out and in the world. Something you and I spoke about, Anthony, is that, you mentioned obviously in your first reaction how strong the visuals are of this. And I remember you talking to me after watching it and saying like they could have even gone away without even having dialogue in a lot of this movie because the visuals are so strong.
Yeah,
And that's just something that I'm really excited to look at, down the road when I rewatch this. It'd be cool to see like maybe just, we've seen with films being released down the road, like, oh, here's this film with only the soundtrack and sound effects. It'd be interesting to see if they release like an appendage to this where you could only watch it with the soundtrack, because
that would be
is very moody,
amazing.
very vibey. It'd be very, very cool to see that. Shay, jump on in.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was also a visual spectacle, this whole movie, in the sense that you're getting a movie also that's, pretty much fully shot in black and white with some hints of color appearing here and there as a narrative device. I think that's kind of what I loved about it, was that movies that are usually black and white typically, I don't know what it is. I tend to stray away from them only because I need that pop of color for me to be visually stimulated. And a movie that is so, it clocks in under an hour, but but what we're seeing on screen is so beautiful and it looks so engaging. I was hooked. I was on board. I was ready for whatever was going to come next. And Michael nails it with the visuals. He nails with how you can scare somebody while still making it a friendly environment for people who aren't accustomed to horror movies, who aren't accustomed to getting scared. This is a very talented approach at creating that fear that you want to get from a horror movie. And you have great performances. I think Laura Donnelly is, again, she's like literally like a bamf. I haven't used that term in over 15 years, but
Oh
a
my god, yeah.
badass mother effer.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is like the best way to describe her, because she's just absolutely killing it. There's so much that I want people to kind of go into this movie without knowing, because you leave with a big smile while still just chills all over your body.
Yeah, it very much is one of the coolest things I think we've seen out of the MCU, because it's so different. And this movie commits to its style, it commits to its vibe, it commits to telling a story. Sure, you have the Marvel banner in front of this. This is very much a film set within the MCU. And you'll see when you watch this film. But it could be something in a totally different corner than what we're accustomed to seeing. And I like that. That is how Marvel is going to stay relevant. And, and we've spoken about this on so many different projects that Marvel has released. It's wild to think that this project, this special, is in the same universe as She-Hulk, in the same universe as Miss Marvel. But it works because they've established that this is what our universe can be. And I love that this show, sorry, this not the show, this special, this hour-long film commits to the story that it's telling. It's a smaller scale story, but it commits to the black and white. It commits to like this narrative driven, visually just wild showcase, and it's scary. It's perfect for the season. And I love that Marvel is, doing more projects like this. We know we're going to be getting a Guardians Christmas special later this year in December, which is perfect. And I would love to see more of these little specials. You don't need a full on movie to introduce these characters. We're getting series. We used to get the one shots, we got films, and now we're getting these specials. You got to diversify. And not all characters are going to need a movie or need a series, but to introduce different corners of the Marvel universe in a special like this, I think is so cool. And the fact that Michael Giacchino, the director, wanted to do this project. This is a passion project for him. This is something that he pitched Kevin Feige to create. And that's was something that was so cool when we spoke to him and he told us that. It's like, this is something he wanted to do. This wasn't something that was offered to him. He was campaigning to do this. And I think that's so cool that not only is he given us some of the best scores within the MCU over the last 5-6 years or so, but now he's giving us a special. I'm hoping that we'll get to see a lot more of him, in this regard, because he is such a talented human being. And I think watching this, especially with Halloween coming up, this is going to be that new yearly tradition that I'm going to watch this. And this movie does so much without showing you a lot as well. We spoke about that, and Shay spoke about that. We'll have something that's scary. It's a lot scarier to not see something than it is to see something in a lot of regards. And this movie does a great job balancing that. Any other thoughts on Werewolf by Night? Anyone want to jump in? Anthony?
That's what I wanted to say. Like he does a great job of hiding the horror element and making you afraid. That's why I thought, well, if there was no narrative and just sound effects, it would even be scarier. And Michael being a composer and music and sound, creating that atmosphere would have been perfect for this this movie, this special. But like, again, I get it. We want to set up. Marvel loves setting it up for the rest of the world. It's not always going to be for those types of fans, but I think that's a unique way of telling a story that hopefully one day we might get. Marvel will take that risk and say, you know what, let's make a movie just visually and add that sound that's very impactful to create that atmosphere. But I gotta say, this movie is the most bloodiest, most violentless,
Violent?
violent. I don't know. I'm trying to mix words. Marvel thing I've ever seen. I was shocked. I'm like, man, we were waiting for Deadpool to be that violent, that rated R, um, Disney Plus or Disney Universe movie, and here we got Werewolf by Night giving us axes to the head, blood gushing out. Like it's good. There's a lot of it is black and white, but you can still see it. You can still feel it.
Right.
So, and this is, I think, rated what, PG-13? It's not G. It's not a
TV 13. I think
TV-13. Yeah, but yeah, this is, again, there's another risk Marvel took with this. Marvel Studios being, let's give Michael this passion project. Let's let him tell a story. You can't tell a monster story without having a lot of blood and a lot of violence.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think you do get away with a lot when you have that black and white. And, as Shay mentioned, we do have bits of color that are used within this film. When we see the stone, like that's in color. So like those colors, like it pops and it's really cool to see that. And I think the length of this is the perfect length to tell the story, because a lot of this film, it's building up tension. It's building up, okay, who could I trust? Who could I not trust? And then you kind of get these cards being slowly dealt to you throughout, and then it builds up to seeing this werewolf and just seeing a transformation, and just some of the coolest and the most awesome visuals that we've ever seen within the MCU, I think, have come from this. And I'm really hoping that we'll get more specials down the road, because this is a really cool way of telling the story. Any other final thoughts on Werewolf by Night before we get to our final recommendations? I'm seeing everyone shaking their heads. Everyone is ready to go. Anthony, I'm going to get you to start us off.
I definitely recommend you watch it. It's great for the Halloween season. It's different. It's unique. I think it's less than an hour, so you just put it on and enjoy it. Have fun with it. Watch it at night. Don't watch it during the day. And yeah, experience the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a different way.
I love it. Shay, how about yourself?
Watch it as well. I would say watch it during the day, though. No, I'm just kidding. No, just watch it
by day.
Watch it anytime you want, because this is a great film. But definitely at night, where you can feel the least safe in your life. Maybe watch it in a bad neighborhood too, so you get a really interesting experience.
Watch it in an alleyway.
Watch it
alleyway.
In a forest surrounded by wolves.
That's a way
on your phone,
because
that's Disney Plus. Disney Plus. Watch anywhere, I believe, is their new motto.
Sorry, Shay's just pitching an
I want to see an ad of just people surrounded like it's like the movie The Gray, and people are just watching Werewolf by Night on their phone, just like, I think we're okay.
I love it. I'm going to go 3 for 3. This is a watch it. You're going to have a great time with it. It is a perfect time of year to watch a movie like this. Like Anthony said, watch it at night. Get a big bowl of popcorn because it's a great monster movie and it's a great time for Halloween. You're going to love it. You're going to have a great time with it. Thank you once again for listening to our review of Werewolf by Night, and thank you to our friends at Disney Studios Canada for sending it to us for review. Like I said, this is going to be available to watch on October 7th. That is the day after Shay's birthday. Again, for all of you playing at home, make sure you wish Shay happy birthday today if you are listening to this on October 6th. If you're listening to it on October 10th for some reason, maybe you could wish Anthony happy birthday. Who knows? But it's not as maybe we'll have an episode that day too that will wish him properly happy birthday. Who knows? But I want to say thank you once again to today's sponsor, which is Mubi. Check out our show notes below for a link to sign up for 30 days to see a world of cinema at your fingertips. You won't want to miss it. Thank you to them for that. First of many ads, and hopefully a big relationship that we'll have with them down the road. So stay tuned for all of that. As always, you can catch a brand new episode of the Movie Podcast every single Monday, and pretty much throughout the week, we have interviews and reviews on all the latest movies and series. If you want to write in and be part of the show, send us an email at hello@TheMoviePodcast.ca. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd at The Movie Podcast. Join our Discord and make sure you subscribe and follow us on YouTube. Leave a comment. Let you know what you think of Werewolf by Night, and let's definitely talk about it in our Discord channel. We're having lots of fun there, so make sure you tune in for all of that. Check out our show notes below for all of that and more. That was this time with the Movie Podcast, and we'll see you next.